people of the wondrous world. How are we all? Yeah, so I'm wearing shades today because I've always been used to fighting in the dark. I'm a warrior in the dark, in the shade. That's why I have an alluring auric essence. I'm only kidding. That's tarnishing it a bit much for my ego, embellishing too much for my ego in that one, in that comment. Anyways, feeling lively. It's Ramadan season. Abstinence from stimulation, from what they call dunya, earth densities, or abstain from, in order to open, dilate the essence and conduit of the divine, the prophets, which is prophetic emission through the essence of the heart, which they call in Islam, Sufism, Latayef of the Khalb. And I know I pronounced that not too good, but these are energy centers in the heart that coalesce and create an integrated field. It's like centrifugality, spiral, and they are what charge and animate your very essence. And that sits on top of all the other systems. I don't want to get into that today, okay? So I am all about today, I'm about certain things that we think we need to do, or we need to go on. Aspects of our ego, basically. To summarise, aspects of our ego. So, the first layer of this, what we call spiritual journey, which is not a journey because it's not going anywhere. It is not on a tangential lineage that is illusion related. It is not going anywhere. It's non-locality. Locational doesn't exist, hence the word focal point. Every essence is the atomic essence of the focalized expression of all of what it's doing in and of its own self. So there is no journey, okay? It goes through phase waves and it reflects them angles and it illuminates more of them angles to synthesize back into its being, to reflect, to realize that we're always the divine. And these words don't do it justice, but for the sake of the video. So, yeah, the seasons for a reason, okay? The seasons, the spiritual practices, they're not arbitrary acts, they're very strongly justified through divine ordinance, preordained from the divine. It's a game, but let me get into something simple here. We go on these quests, okay? It's alright being an artist and things like this, and being a bodybuilder or being a swimmer or a dancer and all that stuff. What that does is, initially, doing them things, them acts, acting upon them things, it initiates, pre-initiation, but it's just the first prelude, expression into completely being liberated. So it's like the avenue and the doorway back through yourself, because that act you're doing is symptomatic of the inclusivity of the divine, but it's not what makes you what you are. We seem to be in this phase wave currently, be too subsumed by that act is what we are, and that's attributed to our worth. No, that's still external. You do that because you can. I'm speaking from experience here. If I play guitar and then I try to refine it too much and tweak it with precision and to a I start to not see the whole atomic array of why I'm doing it. So that gets occluded. There's no flow. There's no transmission anymore because I get in the way of it. So then the coordinates that are permitted from the divine to do that are lost and severed. There's a huge distinction between acting upon it and going for it and really embracing your true qualitative aspects, but it's not still what you are. That's done because it can be done for the sake of itself. Kun fayakun, they say. Islam, Sufism, kun fayakun. It's a river. Just ride the wave, ride the river, because the river and the avenue leads to the ocean, and there's many rivers, and all these rivers are your innate qualitative expressions, but they all lead to the same ocean. The ocean wasn't doing any other thing other than that. Where else are the rivers going? But we think that we are, through our own volition, leading the river. We can get caught up in this too much. And you'll only be a musician anyway, or a bodybuilder, or this, if it's permitted for you to take something from that and synthesize something from that. But if you are already at a calibrated level of vibration that don't need that to show you what you are, then it won't be permitted to be anyway. unless it's gonna really be a key to unlock some people's hearts. Mind first, and then the mind opens, and then the receptivity of the mind, you become a reciprocal for the the heart's reverberation, to actually see through it again, to see that implication of what you are as your surroundings. So some artists do this, and bodybuilders have done it. I've been inspired by many bodybuilders. Well, I used to do bodybuilding, and some of them were very spiritually oriented, and it really did invoke something deeper. It wasn't just lifting weights. It wasn't as mundane and simplistic as that, and a mediocre approach. Okay, it wasn't. It was fashioning the body and the essence of what makes us to be animate, and then you're fashioning it on that basis, and it's almost like you're grinding for something that doesn't want to be muscular. Your body doesn't want to be muscular. So it's like you are traversing comfortable layers of this density, of carbon density, of which what your body doesn't want to do. It is an avenue and a medium in which can always resuscitate each time you go and train more of the metaphysical aspects, the unseen aspects of what you are, which imply your innate being. You can do that. So can music. I do it with music too. I feel like all the prophets, all the saints, what they say, everything, all the multiplicity of the divine realms that we are not accessing in a sensory paradigm, all that, I feel like I'm accessing, and the music is emitting it to mirror back what that is from that place. But then when I start to try to think that it's not good enough, or it needs refining, or I want to post it on Instagram, or they all get messed up. Do it, leave it, post it, leave it. That seed's meant to grow. It will be transcendentally permitted. It will be. If it has some prophetic cultivation to it that can help somebody to see what they actually are, the actuality of what it is and what they are, it will be enabled. But that could just be done by saying something to somebody in the street. So all these things are alright to do, okay? But if your paramount intention is an ulterior one, so it's concealed, and it's really for because you're in deprivation. If it's oriented around that, don't expect much in return. Expect only more. It won't proliferate edible fruits for people's hearts. It will only perpetuate friction. And it'll go round and round itself. So that's your intention. Then God will either not make it happen, or He will make you go on that avenue to teach you something hard lesson. I've been there, I've been and done all this. I'm not saying I've been a musician, but I've been with the music thing. I still do it now, but now it's done because it's of itself. I do it because I can. I do it because it keeps recalibrating me to that flow. The centripetality of the heart, the 360, the reflection, tafakkul, they say, Islam. Yes, I am Muslim. Yes, I am Sufism. Not me. It's just a way of being. It is an emulation of the divine. It is a mimicking all the acts, the practices, the dress. I don't dress like it yet, but it will be when it's permitted. I still have my own distinct style, but I wouldn't say it's embellished heavily by the egoic eye and perception, more of the mind's eye. It more exemplifies the multifaceted essence of what we are, not ego. But that's it. It's not influenced by other dark entities or beings on a lower dense realm. So I'm somewhere in the middle, okay, but everything about Sufism is about that. The way I talk, the perception I have is all that. And it's all a byproduct of that. And I know there is spiritual people out there on YouTube that speak in a similar manner. Yes, but sometimes they don't know where that's been inspired from. They're a transmitter, yes, but the source in which it's been inspired from, they have other names for it. It's been westernized, so it's been embellished by Western perception. It's been veiled by Western perception, like they call like the guides and things like that. They were aware of angels, and they say guides and so and so's channeling through me. Dorothy, Merlin, all this stuff, okay? Got to be careful with that, because then that's, when you call it a name, it's objectifying it. It's objectifying it as a distinct being that's a distinct being that's of not a name that's even prophetic or oriented around a monotheistic aspect. Monotheism, one emanation, one God, that we are all dispersed from to realize itself from that station again. So these things, they objectify that. They're not inclusive to it. It becomes its own exclusive, again, tangential endeavour. So you gotta be careful with these things. I'm only speaking real. I don't care who it disrupts, and I don't care who says and tries to justify it with a spiritual perception. Where's that spiritual perception coming from? There is no Dorothy Merlin or so and so that I'm channeling from in 80s or 1800s. Because again, That's solidifying it as an exterior, corporeal form other than what you are. Like someone else is channeling through you. That is jinn. You know jinn, you heard jinn, Quran. You call them jinna, there's cognate to jinna. They are relative to the paradigm of carbon. What's carbon? Tantalizing your ego into objective endeavours where the answer is not sufficient. There is no provision there. These beings get in and say that you're channeling this name, that name. Be careful what we propagate on YouTube. Even I don't feel like I'm fully permitted to propagate knowledge or wisdom. But I'm not claiming anything. I'm not claiming I'm a leader, a spiritual guide. You take from this, you leave it. Doesn't matter to me. But I'm not sat on a throne somewhere claiming I'm a grand sheikh or a sheikh or a Zen master or any of that stuff. I'm just saying, I have feeling, I have a sensation to use this little medium of YouTube to propagate that stream, becoming the propagated. And then hopefully them seeds will scatter into their dispersed illusion of people and separability and all that. And hopefully it will converge things and perceptions and the polarity things through the effect of the illusion of being dispersed into a plane, an earth planet. That's all fallacy. If we're somewhere floating on a globe in space, then that means there's other globes and other spaces to make our space be that space. Do you get my drift? Do you see the angle I'm trying to get? If we was a globe, that would be an inference of other globes, of other ones to be us. And the attention wouldn't be focalized right here now, presently. So it's all here. Yes, it's multiplicated. There is layers, but they are all concomitant with themselves. They are all an implication of what the other's doing, condensed into the earth plane as earth expression. Yes, I do feel like I am somewhere on many other planes, expressing this soul on another plane somewhere, as I am here, but it's simultaneous. It's not scientific perception. Or even some religions still think that we're a globe. I don't believe that. I do not believe this because of what I've just said. If that justifies it for you, for me, don't matter. That's just how I feel. I think that this is just a mirror plane. Like ever seen like a metallic little flash? Some of my friends have mentioned this too. It's because it's a direct mirror of you. What's a mirror? You don't go through it. It's not solidified either, because that would mean it's outside. It's all just doing this, reciprocation. Emanation, reciprocation, emanation, reciprocation. And it's layered. Yes, there's an ultimate abode that's abundant. The absolute abundance of all things. Yes, but we cannot fathom that. It's unfathomable to the paradigm which we are subject to on earth expression. We're simultaneously oscillating ego spirit. If not, we wouldn't be here. Wouldn't be in physical experience. If we was in the absolute, what's the word for it? If we was in absolute awe with God, like completely in in that essence, we wouldn't be physical. It is a game. This is a game. It's a dual game. How would you know what liberation feels like without the duality aspect making you to not feel liberated? What would liberation be? It would just be, and you wouldn't be here. Physicality implies duality. Physicality implies duality. And it is a polarity oscillation game. This, that, no. Convergence. Bring it together. See what had to happen to show you something. And none of it's personal. But this new age spirituality is taking spirituality personal. And it never mattered. All this is going to be destroyed soon, wiped out. It's happened in the Quran. If you read the Quran, I am not a religious preacher. I'm not a religious preacher. But there is a story to this. It's not just an arbitrary expression for the sake of it. It is a game, and it's already in an ordinance that if you don't follow the permitted coordinates in accordance with that ordinance, you will see how much friction you will feel. I don't care how much you're denying this truth right now, and you are a repellent to it. It doesn't matter. Eventually you will have to accept. In your own time. Just take whatever you can from it to reflect on your own life. But this way is not, like when you read the Quran, it is not, if you are blind to things and ignorant and in a state of insolence, rigidly, the divine permitted you to be that too, to then reflect on those that aren't, to illuminate more of what they are. You see how it works? So this is not a compulsory thing at all, or forceful, but it is the way. And if you want freedom, more freedom, and you're not quite happy with your physical life, then this is a way. So there's also all the practices, again, like I said earlier, are a emulation. The way I'm speaking is it's like a more dense vibrational emulation of the divine whole. We have to, because our mind's been dualized, okay? It's been fractured, the light's been fractured. Suggestive fraction, even the alphabet. Okay? The light, phonetic alphabet. The photons have been fractured. And they've created an effect of adjectives and verbs, which is objective. And is ego, energy and go, ego, yeah. Ego, energy and go. It's not going anywhere other than back within itself. See how all this is illusion based. So if you want to traverse these densities to be more content, then Sufism, things like this are a way of being, because they emulate that. When we speak, we're not speaking from trying to make something work or happen. We're speaking from that divine place. These words are just a byproduct. They're a simple byproduct of that. But the word consists within itself of a light, a prophetic light that emits itself through this corporeal essence, corporeal form, this holographic corporeal form. It's just like that, Alan Watts once said, it's like that of a sound speaker. The sound makes the speaker to even be what it is, but it's not the speaker, like the physical externalized speaker. But what's emitting through it is the unseen. Which station are you talking from? If you're coming from a sense of indigence, which is like psychological indigence, poor, like you're in lack, you need it, or you're in need, then your words won't be liberating anybody, and there'll be no provision for the soul. But if you're coming from if you're talking from a sense of opposing that, so whole and in a more let's just say omniscience. I'm not claiming that whoever's speaking is the ultimate knower, but if it's coming from a space for experience of knowing what's not, and omniscience, that is provision for that person's soul. So which vibration are you talking from? Where are you coming from? This has to be contemplated on and within, because if you don't have nothing good to say, and you are just going to react to frictional erratic energies, which is all them lower vibrational beings, jinn and things like that, cognate, like I said earlier, to genie, the ones that entice you into illusion, that has nothing